Domesticated horses were tamed around 4,000 years from wild horses in the Near East. While cows used to do the manual labor that farms needed, domesticated horses were able to do the same work faster. Horses were also used for transportation because they were capable of moving much further than humans at a much faster pace. Before horses, travel was limited to how far a person was willing and able to walk. With horses, people became able to travel over land at a faster pace. When food was scarce, horses were able to serve as a source of meat for the weary travelers. Horses are known as somewhat picky eaters, but they will eat grasses, hay, and some grains. One of the downsides of allowing horses free rein over a pasture is that they graze over very large areas, using up an entire pasture in a relatively short period of time. Farmers who allow their horses out to pasture will usually rotate the horses through different sections in order to allow the grass to grow back. So people living in rural or underdeveloped areas still use horses for manual labor and transportation. Industrialized countries have mostly replaced horses with cars and tractors. In the United States, horses are usually raised as pets, companions, and athletes for horse races. Anatomy and behavior. Horses possess deep brown colored eyes about 5 cm in diameter. The position of the eyes on each side of the head gives a very wide range of vision. In fact, horses have a 350-degree field of vision. The only blind spots are directly behind and in front. So remember, do not startle a horse by approaching it from behind. It cannot see you and might get a fright. Interestingly, horses cannot observe things that are close up and directly in front of them. They observe distant objects with their heads down and near objects with their heads raised up. Ears of a horse are extremely flexible. They twist and rotate a bit like radar screens, alerting them to any possible danger. You can read the mood of a horse by observing the position of its ears. When unhappy, the ears are flattened back against the head. When happy and curious about its surroundings, the ears are pricked forward. When in doubt or unsure about something, one ear will be pricked forward and the other held back. Also, when a horse holds its tail high, it indicates a good mood. When it swishes its tail from side to side, it's ready for action. When a horse tilts its head towards you, you might think it is about to bite you, but in fact it might just be showing friendship.
Horses have existed for 55 million years. Our own human history has been greatly shaped by our partnership with these creatures, and they have been shaped by us as well. Since domesticating the horse 6,000 years ago, humans have created hundreds of horse breeds, used for everything from racing and war to plowing and pulling carts and carriages. Horses are physically incapable of vomiting. There are a number of anatomical reasons for this, such as the strength of the muscles in the esophagus, the specific way the esophagus connects to the horse's stomach, and the location of the stomach itself. The evolutionary reason for this isn't known for sure, but one theory is that it is protective. The back and forth motion of a full gallop could theoretically induce vomiting that would allow a predator to catch it. So evolution may have eliminated the concern entirely. They are related to the rhinoceros. Horses are members of the genus Equus, which is considered the only extant group in the horse family. The genus includes not only the domesticated horse, Equus caballus, but also the Przewalski horse, zebras, and asses such as donkeys. Surprisingly, though, these are not the horse's closest living relatives. As an odd-toed ungulate, the horse is closest related to the similarly hooved rhinoceros. Arabian horses stand out for their historical importance, particularly to the culture and lives of desert tribes in the Middle East. But they are also distinct from other horse breeds because of their unique build. Arabians have a greater bone density than other horses, and they also have a shorter back with one fewer lumbar vertebrae. Additionally, Arabians have one fewer pair of ribs, and their ribs are set wider apart. While they are known for carrying their tails high like a flag behind them, that may have less to do with high spirits and more to do with having two fewer tail vertebrae than other horse breeds. All miniature horses are ponies, but not all ponies are miniature horses. Any horse that is shorter than 14.2 hands, 58 inches, at the withers qualifies as a pony. According to the American Miniature Horse Association, miniature horses must be no taller than 34 inches, which puts them squarely in the pony category in addition to being their own group. However, many enthusiasts consider miniature ponies to be a distinct breed of horse because they maintain standard horse body proportions, unlike ponies that have shorter legs, longer bodies, and an overall stockier build. Much can be learned about a horse through its teeth, starting with its gender. Male and female horses have a different number of teeth. Males have 44, while females have between 36 and 44. You can also estimate a horse's age by looking at its teeth. According to the University of Missouri, this can be done by observing the occurrence of permanent teeth. The disappearance of cups, indents in each tooth, the shape of the surface of the teeth, and the angle at which the top and bottom rows meet. There is only one subspecies of horse that is truly wild, not just feral, Przewalski horse. Although it was once found throughout Europe and Asia, the species is now limited to just Mongolia, China, and Kazakhstan. They differ from domestic horses in their large heads, thick necks, short legs, and overall stocky builds. You're probably wondering about the wild populations that roam in the western U.S. and famously on the beaches of North Carolina's Outer Banks. These mustangs share a species designation with domesticated horses and, actually, derived from domesticated populations. That said, these horses are considered feral, not wild. Horses' ears may be small, but they are mighty. Each ear contains 10 muscles, compared to humans' 3, and can move 180 degrees, from facing directly forward to directly backward. They can also distinguish and identify distinct sounds by directing their hearing to specific areas. Horses use their muscular ears to communicate, such as by pinning them back to indicate anger or for guidance. In one study, horses were found to make decisions based on where another's ears were pointing, telling us that the animals may use their ears to direct each other. When a horse curls its upper lip and raises its head in the air, many people see it as a funny face or an expression of laughter. That's inaccurate. Rather, this behavior is called the Fleeman response, and it's about getting a better whiff of an interesting smell. The action allows pheromones and other scents to transfer to the vomeronasal organ, VMO, which then sends signals to the brain that can trigger physiologic and behavioral reactions. Stallions show the Fleeman response most often as they pick up the pheromones of mares. Mares will fleemen shortly after birth as a response to the pheromones of their newly born foal. The Akal Teke horse is famous for its coat. While many well-tended horses have beautiful sheens, this breed boasts a naturally metallic shine. It all has to do with the structure of its hair. In most horse breeds, hair strands have an opaque core, but for the Akal Teke, that core is extremely small or completely absent. The transparent part of the hair takes its place, bending and refracting light as it passes through and giving each hair an apparent shimmer. Horses are smart creatures, and there are studies to prove it. Research published in 2012 found that horses use input from several senses to identify and remember people. The horses were able to distinguish between a familiar and unfamiliar human by their voices alone, without using sight or smell. The horses could also do the opposite, telling the difference using just the sight and smell of the people, not hearing their voices. Meanwhile, the Equine Research Foundation has disproved an assumption about horses that they cannot transfer information between different sides of the brain. Its study found that horses were easily able to employ this skill of interocular transfer, recognizing objects with one eye that they had learned about with the other. Przewalski horse is listed by the IUCN Red List as an endangered species with only 178 mature individuals remaining. However, populations have been increasing thanks to worldwide efforts to bring the only modern-day wild horse back from the brink of extinction. Just one example is the Foundation for the Preservation and Protection of the Przewalski horse, established in the Netherlands. The organization worked for almost 40 years on breeding strategies and ultimately released more than 350 horses in Hustai National Park in Mongolia. IUCN. In the US, the feral Mustang is also believed to be edging closer to extinction, but because it's technically a domesticated breed, it can't be listed on the endangered species list.